This week on the Computer Chronicles, home design software. We'll show you how to create your new dream home right on your PC. We'll show you how professional architects use the same kind of software to build million-dollar homes. If you just want to redesign a part of your house, we'll look at software that lets you create a new bathroom and a home center that uses computers to help you remodel that old kitchen. Plus, we'll visit one of the best websites for do-it-yourselfers and a look at some software that will help you plan the perfect garden around your house. Plus, my pick of the week, a terrific new program for redesigning yourself. It's all coming up next on the Computer Chronicles.
Computer Chronicles is made possible in part by SoftSource Incorporated, publishers of Pro-One's Mathematics Tutor in a Box for school year 98-99, including 6 CDs and workbook. And by Z Auction, the live online shopping experience. Additional funding from PC Connection and Mac Connection, the catalog and online superstore with PC and Mac products, toll-free technical support and overnight delivery. And by Windows Magazine, delivering desktop, enterprise, and internet computing news, reviews, features, and how-tos for a Windows world, because the world runs on Windows.
Hi, and welcome to the Computer Chronicles. I'm Stewart Cheifet. One of the cool things about computers is that you can simulate real life, do things on the computer first before committing to doing it in the real world. That's great for games and sports sims, but it's also great for design work and home design in particular. So today we're going to show you how to use your computer to design or redesign your house or any part of your house. And we'll begin with some software to help you create your dream home. And I'm not an architect. Can I actually use software like this to design my own house? Where do I begin?
Yeah, it's very simple to actually just drag and drop and create a floor plan that you can then send off to a contractor.
All right, now it comes with what, a bunch of templates for different possible designs? Is that the idea, Rick?
Correct. You have samples that you can look at.
So these are all files of model homes that I might want to use. So just click one, for example, and open one up so we can see what that would look like.
Okay.
All right, so that's sort of some basic layout, which is kind of garbage to me because I don't understand most of that. Now, you've been working on a couple specific projects, I know, and let's take a look at those because they're a little more developed.
Okay.
I think you're working on a one-level house with a cathedral ceiling type
Correct.
thing.
And so these are in my project library.
So let's see what that particular design would look like.
Go ahead and open it up.
All right, so now just describe what we're looking at here.
So here you have your basic kind of a playroom area with a kitchen, a garage, and a deck off
and
the side.
And you can scroll that, I assume, so we can see the rest of the design there.
Exactly.
Now, the first thing I want to know is what is this house going to look like from the outside when somebody drives up to it?
Right.
The curb value. So can I get a view of the outside of that house?
Yeah, by using our camera option, you go ahead and click on the item, and it'll go ahead and generate the house with the roof on top of it.
Uh-huh. And so that's automatically done. I don't have to know what I'm doing from an architect's point of view.
Not at all.
All right, well, that's kind of a nice looking house. Now let's go back inside if we can.
Okay.
And suppose I want to start to say, well, what would that great room look like if I dropped in a sofa and a pool table or stuff like that?
Okay, so you go to your furniture library and pick up certain items such as for recreation. So there's my gaming table.
So you can just drag and drop that in there, basically?
Drop that right in and go back and throw in an occasional end table. Okay.
So I just pull it back. And now can I go inside the house and see what that would look like?
Right. By still going back to the camera view, you go ahead and select the area that you actually want to look at.
Well, that's pretty cool. So that's the pool table you just dropped in there.
Correct.
And can we sort of rotate and kind of see what the other views of that room would be?
You can actually take a look over here. And
that's the table you dropped in there.
Right, and pool table, and you can
even move it in that view too. Huh?
Exactly.
All right, last thing, suppose I'm just going to add on a room to my house. I already have the house, but I want to add another room. Can I design that room using the software?
Sure, you can go ahead and with the same floor plan that we've just been dealing with, go ahead and click on the wall options, which you can then go ahead and...
Okay, so just say, hey, I want to add a room next to that great room there, and just drop in those lines, huh?
And
you're not doing that real carefully, but the software sort of automatically snaps those walls in and knows that walls have to join each other.
It knows that they want to have in an angle.
And you could drop in a window or doors or stuff like that?
A window actually really quickly would go in, and also if you wanted to go ahead and then quickly just put in a chair.
Okay. And can we real quickly actually see what my little room starts to look like now. It's not going to look like much probably. We haven't done too much here yet.
Right.
But I can actually go get that inside 3D view again.
With the camera tool, go ahead and point it to the area that you actually want to take a look at.
I want to look in that direction in that room, and lo and behold.
And
pretty boring, but we got a long way to go.
Right.
All right, thanks a lot. All right, now this is an under $50 product for you and me to work on a house design, but basically the same kind of software is being used by real architects to design million-dollar homes. One example of that kind of software is ArchiCAD from Graphisoft.
At this construction site north of San Francisco, an unusual home is slowly taking shape. The walls and columns are not made of wood or concrete. It is called a rammed earth house, and the primary material used is dirt.
We were confident that we could come up with the detailing to make everything work here. But there was a huge amount of invention of ways of weatherproofing and making structurally sound this material, which has not been used in the daring way that we're using it here in the past.
This house is also remarkable because of the design process used from concept to construction. The architects used a program called ArchiCAD from Graphisoft. ArchiCAD is an integrated 2D and 3D design program that creates a virtual building, from the detailed working drawings to a virtual reality model of the final outcome.
ArchiCAD, because of its integrated nature, cannot not be 3D. It cannot not know what's in it and what the pieces are. The only thing that changes is the level of precision in the thought process or development of how many materials. So from the first slab or whatever drawn on the floor, we already know that it's concrete, and we already know that it's so many square feet.
As the architect makes changes to the design, ArchiCAD extends those changes across the board, from the drawings to the materials to the 3D rendering. It is also a good way to notice things that might have been missed.
We saw a lot of interesting connections and opportunities that we hadn't seen before, because when you're drawing a project, traditionally you're just looking at a two-dimensional view of the building or of an element of the building, and you're not really seeing something that's running into that two-dimensional view from another direction.
ArchiCAD's virtual building database can be supplied to as many people as are involved in the project. Architects for a recent Silicon Valley headquarters sent their clients virtual reality updates through an internet website.
The simple fact that the architect controls or has in his or her computer a building, and not just a set of drawings which are easily copyable, sort of implies a kind of power, that they have a lot of information. The architect's really in a position to become almost more like a doctor, and someone who stays with the whole building process a long, long time, rather than someone who only sort of lives in a very short period of time between the initial design and the occupancy permit.
For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Sarah O'Brien.
Well, suppose you already have your house, but you want to work on some redesign or repair projects. Well, an obvious place to start your search for some expert advice is the internet, and one of the best websites for doing that is Better Homes and Gardens Online, and that's your baby, Paul.
Absolutely.
And what are the different choices I have when I log onto your homepage here?
This is the homepage for the Home Improvement Encyclopedia, and there are more than 1,000 pages of information here on home improvement tips and repairs.
So I see yards, electrical, plumbing, decks, that kind of. Suppose plumbing is what I'm interested in, and I've got a sink problem, and I need help on it.
Okay. Well, the first thing you're going to want to do is, in many cases, is repair the faucets. Those are the things that are most likely to go wrong.
In fact, I have a leaky faucet, and I want to put one of these new modern ones in.
And what you find often is that the space between the back of the sink and the wall.
You get in under there and you realize
narrow.
you can't get that old-fashioned wrench in there.
You bet. And so what we've done is we've taken the instructions for using a special tool called the basin wrench, and we've put them onto the page here, where if you just click on the play button here, you can watch and see how when you're working under the sink, the washer goes on first.
So these are little shockwave animations that are in your website that actually show me how to use this thing, which I didn't even know existed, called a basin wrench. And you've got the whole little bit there.
Yeah, it takes about 10 to 20 seconds for these animations to load. They're very quick, and they simplify what can be a very complicated process.
All right, so again, I'd gone in there myself trying to figure this out. I don't know what to do. I can just go to the website, and it sort of has the solution for me. All right, let me give you another problem.
Okay.
Hot water heater.
Yep.
All right, pilot light keeps on going out, and I want to reset it, and I'm not sure how to do that without blowing up the house.
Well, you can do that here as well. If we go down to how to relight a pilot light, it's not a very complicated process, but it does involve several steps that have to be done just in the right order. So if we go down here to relighting a pilot light and press the button.
Another little animated demo, huh?
You'll see that what you have to do first is turn the
make sure you turn the gas off, right, so you don't blow the house up.
And there shouldn't be any gas coming out now because it's, the pilot light's gone out. So next you turn it to pilot after you've turned it off. Then you press
that red button, right, to get the gas going through there.
Light the
you
pilot.
You got the sounds there to help you out.
And then something that's very important people forget about is you have to hold that red button for about 60 seconds so that the thermocouple can heat up.
Okay, so it knows the heat is there.
And if you don't know what a thermocouple is, you can click on the word
You've got a glossary
and you'll go to a glossary.
All right, now suppose what's good about the net is you can go in there and talk to other people who have had similar problems to you. Do you have a kind of forum where you can say, hey, you know, what did you learn about replacing sinks, or do you like that particular faucet?
Yes, we do. We have something called the House and Home area of our website. And it includes the Home Improvement Encyclopedia, but it also includes the Home Forum, where you can trade ideas with other people who are interested in decorating and building and remodeling. And so we'll go to the Idea Center there. It's a very easy-to-use discussion group. If you've seen some discussion groups, there's a lot of indenting of messages and all that. And this has been very simply laid out so that you can take a topic and see what it's about.
Now Paul, the number one issue people are talking about is husbands in the home repair center.
I guess that's the problem people face the most.
They're trying to fix that sink themselves and they screw it up. Is that what happened?
I think so.
46 replies on the topic of husband. I got to get in there and find out what's going on. But winter blues, laundry, got meals, everything here, not just home repair.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks very much. Very cool site.
You're welcome.
All right, well, if you want to go to buy or sell a house, the agent will always tell you it's all about bathrooms and kitchens. And indeed, that's where most home redesign dollars go. So let's look at some software that will help you redo your bathroom, for example. And that's what you have here. And how do we begin this process? I've got an ugly bathroom, and I want to make it really pretty and nice. How do I use the software to do that?
Well, with the Picture This Home software tool, one of the first features you can use is the planning feature. And this will actually bring up several different floor plans. We've tried to put standard floor plans for the user to choose from, or you can start from scratch. And by clicking on the different floor plans, you can actually go in and modify the floor plan to your specification.
Right, so they're the different layouts I might have for my bathroom, and we're picking the space efficient. It's a small bathroom.
It's a small bathroom, and we're going to modify this so that it matches our specific needs.
So I dropped in the bathtub and the sink and the toilet and so on.
Exactly. Or you can cut the bathtub out. If you decide that all you want in this small bathroom is a corner shower, for example, you can select a corner shower and drop it in there. The objects are smart. They know to snap to the wall.
Okay, now can I sort of see a 3D view of what that bathroom would really look like, not just a little 2D view?
You can click on the aerial view, and from here you get a snapshot specifically of the entire space, so you can get a sense of the size.
Let's get to the heavy-duty stuff, which is really decorating, and the floor tile and the walls and all that stuff.
Okay. With Picture This Home, you can utilize the decorating feature, and Autodesk uses innovative new technology that allows the user to mix and match literally.
Right, so hold it in there for a second. Now, this is the bathroom I would have designed. I had already put in that sink and that bathtub and so on. But now say that's pretty boring. It's also white. I want to work on the wallpaper.
Okay. What we'll do is we'll click on wallpaper. You can narrow your choices down to look specifically at, for example, light green. And then you can pull up all of the samples that we have of light green wallpaper, and by clicking on those, you can immediately apply them to your room.
Okay, can we do that?
We certainly can. For example, if we want to do a light green stripe, we can try that.
It was smart enough not to paint the towels hanging on the walls.
It certainly was.
Well, that looks a lot better. Now let's get to the floor.
Okay.
And suppose we wanted a slightly more interesting thing on the floor there.
One of the unique features we have is actually a tile layout feature that allows you to create custom tile patterns. So, for example, if you go to the new tile layout, you can create a custom tile pattern for the, for the floor.
F-L-O-O-R.
Let's get that spelled correctly. You can actually put a side border in there. You can select your grout width. You can select your grout color. And then you can go in again and click on the different color families. So if you want to do white body in the tile. You can find the white tile patterns that are available, bring those into your tile pattern, and then let's select something for the border. Go back, let's put a color in there. Again, we're going to use light green. Find products there, pull that over. Whoops. And then let's go back to our image that we're decorating, and
just drop that
we're
floor
going to
in,
drop
huh?
that floor right in. So this allows the user to truly visualize their idea. And we found that's the
Well, there
hardest
it is.
problem.
Okay,
for
and that
people.
obviously looks a lot better than what we started out with.
Certainly does.
Now, let's say I like this and I want to go ahead and do it. I want to buy that sink and buy the tile.
Okay.
Do you help me figure out what it's going to cost and where the products are and so
There are
on?
a couple of things we do. We have a shopping feature that actually allows you to shop for brand name products. We work with over 30 different manufacturers who have their products represented here in Picture This
Now,
Home.
is this just a catalog? Do I actually buy it online or just make my buying decision
There's a couple
here?
of things you can do. It definitely helps you with your buying decisions. You can narrow it down. You can look for a Kohler sink, for example. If you like pedestal sinks, you can go look specifically at those.
So all these guys' catalogs are sitting here in the software.
Exactly.
And can I figure out what it's all going to cost me?
You certainly can. You can take a look at your budget worksheet. So everything that you've put in the floor plan you've designed, the products you've selected, will automatically drop down into a budget worksheet. So
And
you
that's
can
going to
get a
cost me
real...
$2,400. I'll just have to get somebody to do the work.
Exactly.
Claire, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, that was bathrooms. What about kitchens? One way to use a computer to design your new kitchen is to work with a professional at a home supply center, say like at a Home Depot. We visited one of their stores to see how they use a computer-based system called 2020.
Wendy Bond and her husband had big plans when they bought this classic house on a hill in San Francisco. One of the first big projects was the kitchen, a jumble of poor design and materials. They decided to tear everything out and start from scratch.
This is our first house, so we went in with very little knowledge about how expensive things can be, how complicated a good design is. And you know, I was sort of taking a design class at the same time, which helped me out a little bit. But it was all new to us. Everything was new.
The new kitchen is a model of efficiency and style compared to the original Ugly Duckling. Walls were taken down, doors moved, and everything was planned in detail using a design program provided at the Home Depot chain stores.
And when I first started, we used to have to just draw them on by hand. And then while we were drawing, if we made changes and stuff and I did elevations, I had to do either a rough perspective or a rough elevation by hand and then go back in and erase it and go back and put it on. With the computer, I can go in and change out one or two little items and instantly I have a design for them.
Home Depot's design program called 2020 is available free of charge to customers. Designers like it because it provides a way to communicate their ideas and for other reasons.
Number one is the selling tool. It's excellent because it does give people the perspective and the elevations of what their kitchen's going to look like. For mistakes, it's awesome because if you put in the right dimensions, the computer's going to keep me from putting in cabinets that, like if I have a space left of 15 inches, it's only going to say it'll accept a 15-inch cabinet. And as a human being, I could have wrote 18-inch and ordered a cabinet that's 3 inches too big. So it's not going to let me do that.
While the Easy 3D of 2020 wins over customers, there are other ingredients to a well-designed kitchen that computers cannot provide.
It wasn't just me sitting down at a computer. It was somebody who'd done this a million times, who'd seen, you know, hundreds of kitchens and could see possible solutions to it. And we were too inexperienced, I think, to be able to see those potential solutions.
For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Sarah O'Brien.
So you've built your house, you've got the dream kitchen and bathroom, now you've got to get to work on the landscaping and the garden. Well, you can use software to help you do that too, and I guess, Jim, that's the idea behind the Complete Land Designer. So let's say I've built my house and I put a little diagram of it here on the screen, but it's pretty boring right now because there's just grass. I mean, there's no trees. And
Well, I didn't design it, Stewart. You designed it.
All right, I'm not a good designer. Let's get to the landscape part. How do I begin the process of seeing what this is going to look like and what to decide to do with regard to the trees in the garden and so on?
Sure. Well, before you do any of that, you need to tell me whether or not there's some slope on your lot.
So it's smart enough to know whether the ground is level or not, because that may affect...
Well, you need to tell the program where there's slope in your lot.
Okay.
If it tilts to one side, that's fine. And if there's curvature to that, okay, let's put in a little bit of that.
Okay.
Get the lot looking the way it really looks in life.
Because that will affect the landscaping.
Yeah,
obviously.
absolutely.
All right, so we've got that part. Now, I've got a driveway. I can't plant trees where the cement is, so how do I tell it that?
Which side is the driveway?
On the right side there.
Okay, let's drag that out for you.
Okay, so let's say that's my driveway.
There's a concrete driveway for you.
All right, now I want to go ahead and say, put in a couple of trees, put in a couple of rose bushes, just start the process.
Start with the big plants that are already there in place.
All right, so I got my trees to choose from.
Okay, and where are they?
Well, let's put them, say, on the right side of the driveway, because the driveway's kind of ugly and I don't want people to just see cement when they drive up to the house. All right, 2 trees, and then maybe a couple of rose bushes to add some color on the other side.
Roses are always popular.
You can tell I'm not a landscaper here. Okay, now we could go on and on, obviously, but just for the purpose of seeing how this works. Can I now take a look at that 3D view again?
Sure.
And see how this is enhanced?
Let's swoop on over and look at your new plantings.
Okay, well, yeah, I can see the tilting that you'd put in there, and there's my trees on one side, my little bushes on the other side. They're not quite in bloom yet. Now, that's a big question. When you put trees in, they're this big, but 5 years from now, they're this big. Well, now, can I anticipate what the house is going to look like 5 years from now when these things grow?
You're wise to think ahead. These things do grow, and you could put them too far apart or too close together. So let's take a look at this 5 years in the future.
So you can just go in there and say, see what this is all
So you saw they grew in top.
So it's got enough intelligence to know that these trees grow at a certain rate in this climate with this rainfall.
So
there they are.
Here they are 5 years later.
Wow, and they're bigger.
And we can go back in time and see how they were today.
With the 5-year view, the reason I asked you about the trees is because trees cast shadows, and I'm concerned with what shadows am I going to be throwing on my house, that picture window in the front. Can I see what the shadowing looks like?
We'll go back ahead 5 years, and then let's take a look in the top view at where the shadows are going to fall.
Oh, so those gray things down there are the shadows
being cast. And now let's look at a whole day. Now it's morning, long shadows.
Okay, the sun is moving along. Okay, very cool.
So you'll be able to figure out where you could plant things that'll do well at different times of year.
Another question. We sort of designed a house. There's a model. Can I take a digital photo of my actual house and actually build the landscaping around that picture?
Absolutely. Here's a scene that I designed around a house.
So that's a finished one. Can we see what it would look like before? Actually?
Sure.
Okay, here's
where I started.
So pretty boring. No trees, no nothing.
I dragged in a plant, and I can resize it.
Let's take a look at that finished view then again. So after I've done all my work, that's what my house would look like once I've done this design work.
If you do it well. You have to water them still.
Lastly and quickly, I want to build a deck. Can I do that design
here
too?
Sure, absolutely. We have a deck designer that builds a structural model of a deck.
Okay, not just that deck, but I take it I could design
whatever
build
deck
I want.
Any deck you want to, multiple levels. You can cut
cool.
a hole in the middle for a hot tub, and it'll make the framing
I like
for
it.
you.
Thank you very much, Jim. All right, that's our look at home design software. Next up, another special preview look at Windows 98, and I'll be back with my pick of the week.
The problem with Windows 95 Help is that it isn't very helpful. Fortunately, real help is on the way with Windows 98. Let me show it to you. I'll click on the Start button here and select Help. That brings up a help system that looks very different from the one in Windows 95. I'll go straight to the good stuff and select Troubleshooting, and then the Windows 98 Troubleshooter. Now this is a pretty neat feature. I'll click on Modem here, and it gives me a whole bunch of options in terms of what kind of problems I'm having, and I can find the problem that I'm having and click on Next. And what this is doing is that it's taking me through to isolate the problem. Now this gives a solution, specific step-by-step instructions on exactly what to do. If it doesn't solve the problem, I click No, and then I continue through the troubleshooting tool. It's pretty neat. Another neat thing about the Windows 98 help system is the online help feature. Now online help brings you to a live website on the Windows 98 site at Microsoft. And this takes you through Microsoft's incredibly great troubleshooting tool that is live and constantly updating. Now that's what I call real help. You should also know that the Internet Explorer 4.0 help system works just like this. Back to you, Stewart.
Now for my pick of the week. Instead of thinking about redoing your house, maybe you're thinking about redoing yourself, your face, your look. Well, Segasoft, a company known for games for guys, has just come out with its first software title mainly aimed at women. It's called the Virtual Makeover, and it's a terrific use of a personal computer. The software was designed in conjunction with Cosmopolitan magazine based on research which showed that 90% of women would like to change their hairstyle or their look, but they're afraid to take the chance because they might not like the result. Well, with the virtual makeover from SegaSoft, you get to see the results on a PC before doing the real thing. Here's how it works. You load in a picture of yourself, either from a digital camera, a scanner, or a floppy. You then have your choice of areas to work on, from hair to eyes to makeup to lips. Let's look at hair, since that's one of the big issues that makeover candidates are worried about. With our model here, we can give her a variety of looks, pick from different hairstyles, and see the results instantly. We can even change hair color or do highlighting. If we want to work on the mouth, we can go over here to the lipstick icon and look at different lip shades. Or we can work on general makeup and actually put different shades and styles of makeup on with a virtual brush. And you can do this for guys also. The software comes with hairstyles just for men. The virtual makeover also runs a website with updated cosmetic options for you to download, and the package comes with a free offer from Kodak to transfer any print photo to a floppy disk. And if you like what you see, you can even order the makeup online from CoverGirl. It's called the Virtual Makeover from SegaSoft. It retails for about $35. Well, that's it for this edition of the Chronicles. We'll be back here again next week with more of the latest in hardware, software, and the internet. If you'd like any more information about anything you saw on today's show, please check out our website at cmptv.com. That's it for this week. I'm Stewart Cheifet. Hope we'll see you here next time.
Computer Chronicles is made possible in part by SoftSource Incorporated, publishers of Pro1 software, educational software for young adults. And by Z Auction, the live online shopping experience. Additional funding from PC Connection and Mac Connection, the catalog and online superstore with PC and Mac products, toll-free technical support, and overnight delivery. And by Windows Magazine, delivering desktop, enterprise, and internet computing news, reviews, features, and how-tos for a Windows world, because the world runs on Windows.
To purchase a videotape copy of today's program, call toll-free 1-888-310-7850. Please specify the show number and the topic.
Next week on the Computer Chronicles, the Digital Living Room. We'll take you to Laguna Niguel, California for the first ever conference on the future of the wired, interconnected home. See the new technologies that will interconnect all the appliances in your house and let everyone in your home share computer and internet resources. Peek into the consumer technology of the next decade with insights from industry observers like David Corsi, Bob Frankston, Philippe Kahn, Kai Kraus, Larry Magid, and Mike Langberg. The Digital Living Room of the Future, next week on the Computer Chronicles.